Hi, thank you so much for joining me today. So I know it's been a while since I put out a video, but I've been sick for the last week. I guess 2 weeks ago, my daughters got sick. My oldest one, she had the flu, and then she developed an ear infection afterwards. My youngest one had a cold and, just springtime allergies for her. But I guess I caught that from my oldest daughter. I caught the flu, and when I was finally getting better from that, then I got the worst sinus infection I have ever had. I think this is actually my first sinus infection that I've ever had to have medication for, but I never knew they could be this intense. Like the entire left side of my face was just incredibly painful. So basically, for the last week, actually last Saturday, I developed a fever, and I had a fever for 6 days. And then I also had like this terrible headache, where it feels like your head's in a vice, but it wasn't like concentrated in one area. It was like the whole head, for 6 days as well. And that actually just started going away. It's still there mildly. But according to the doctor, it's related to the sinus infection, and it'll go away when this gets better. So I'm on my third day of meds for that. And hopefully, it's definitely improving. So hopefully I'll return to complete normal soon. But anyway, I just wanted to talk to you guys for a second about, what it's like being sick at this time, because it's really important to stay in and follow the guidelines. And I have to say, when I was going to the pharmacy to pick up my prescriptions, I noticed a lot of people just kind of not following the guidelines. So even though all the stores and everything was basically closed, you had like groups of teenagers just hanging out, having parties in the parking lot. And, there were kids and teenagers just kind of shopping around in the pharmacy, which honestly, I think the pharmacy workers should have told them to leave, since they weren't, actually doing anything, and they shouldn't have been in such large groups. But they were completely overwhelmed with prescriptions. Like, you couldn't even see the people in the pharmacy over the mounds of actual prescription bags and packages. And it looked like they had a full staff of pharmacists in there. So it took a long time actually to get my prescription filled, just because they were so incredibly swamped. And yeah, I just thank you so much to all the doctors and nurses and healthcare workers, and all the emergency personnel who are still out there doing their job. And it's really scary. And although I didn't get COVID-19, thankfully, when you first get sick, you don't really know, because there are so many flu and cold symptoms that are the same. And, when I got sick a week ago, there was even less information about what exactly is specific to COVID versus things that are overlapping. And so down below in the description box, I'm going to link a CNN article that I actually saw yesterday that kind of explains the difference in the cough that you would have with COVID-19 versus like a flu or a cold cough. And I found that to be the most helpful distinction for me, because I had a cough, I had a fever, I had the headaches, ibuprofen didn't work, Tylenol didn't work. Nothing was working for me to improve the temperature or the headaches. So, I wasn't really sure what was going on. And, I guess it can be really scary, because you don't know and you don't want to infect people. So I urge everybody to please follow these guidelines pretty strictly. I think the stricter we can be about staying in and limiting our interaction with other people is going to make things calm down a little bit faster than a lot faster than, if people are disregarding the guidelines. So hopefully everybody is staying safe and healthy where you are. And, I think this is going to continue for quite a while. And I think it's going to be pretty devastating overall, and for a lot of people economically as well. And, actually my family, we are, in a situation where if my husband doesn't work, he doesn't get paid. And I'm currently not working right now. And obviously the kids are home from school. So I've decided to go on a no buy. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I won't be buying anything new until kind of all this stuff is kind of over. But I did want to share that I have a ton of new stuff that I already purchased that I just haven't gotten around to using. So some of it I purchased as far back as the after Christmas sales, and I just haven't gotten around to looking at it. Some of the stuff I purchased, recently, like for example, I placed a huge Linda Hallberg order when she did her 50% off. That's my first time using her. I finally got my my complete order, so I have that to go through, and some other things that I purchased recently. And there are some things that are still on back order that haven't arrived. So I will still have some new things to feature. They're not necessarily all new releases per se, but they're all things that are new to me. And a lot of them are pretty recent things in general anyway. So I think, now is the time for us to really kind of play around with what we have and find new and innovative ways to play with our makeup. And I know some people at this time when they're staying home, they don't really want to put on makeup because it's kind of a chore to put it on. Nobody really sees you, and then you take it off at night. So I totally get that. But for me, I think I'm going to really use this time to kind of play around with some looks that I wouldn't necessarily wear on a daily, regular day, going about my normal life. So, there's always a silver lining. I think we need to stay positive. So anyway, I'll stop talking about that. I know my skin looks terrible right now. I've been sleeping in the guest room, which is where I do the filming, and I haven't gone into my bedroom for quite a while. So I have been using like my skincare samples and things like that I had sitting out here. I don't have my regular shampoo or anything like that, but basically my husband could potentially be exposed at work, so he's kind of quarantined himself in just to make sure he hasn't been infected. So, it's just me and the kids out in the rest of the house. So we're trying to be really cautious. So I thought we would do a quick get ready with me, and I know I could use a lot of help, especially around the nose area, but because I am still blowing my nose quite a lot, I'm going to actually go pretty light on that. But I thought we would play around with a couple of things. So I'm going to start off with the By Terry CC Serum. This is the Brightening CC Serum in number 1, Immaculate Light. And I haven't used this in the last few weeks, and I've noticed that as this settles, it actually gets kind of like yellowish here at the top. So I definitely want to shake this before I use it. And still a little bit. All right, I'm going to spread this all over my face today. And so it looks like this is pretty runny. And you can see actually when I put it on my fingers that it's glistening. It's not glittery, but there's definitely like a shimmer to it. By the way, if you guys end up, whenever you get your next cold or anything and you're blowing your nose a lot, or even just from allergies and your nose starts to get sore, I found that the Aveeno Eczema Relief Lotion or cream, it's like, I have mine in like a tube, but I think it also comes in a tub. I found that kind of leaves like a film. So if I put that on my nose area, I can blow my nose several times before it all wears off and gets really sore again. So if anybody is looking for a lotion for that, that actually has been working well for me. So I wish I had started using that in the beginning because it really has made a difference. So you can see that really has given my skin like a nice sheen to it. It has brightened everything. And I think after that, I want to go ahead and let's go light today. And I'm not going to put on any primer. I think we'll just use the CC as a primer. I think I want to go in with the Givenchy City Balm. So this is shade N104. And this does have SPF 25 in it. So, you know, we have been playing out in the backyard quite a bit. So definitely want to have a little bit of sunscreen on today. All right, and today, this is the Koyudo Fupa F03 or something like that. It's number 3, but that's what I'm going to use today. So again, I'm not really worried about covering the redness around my nose because honestly, it's all just gonna wipe off throughout the day. So I just want to kind of be gentle. And one of the things I like about this brush is it is incredibly soft. And the bristles are not super firm. So, you know, it's firm enough to give you control, but loose enough or floppy enough that it feels really soft and just kind of gentle on the skin. So I think I'll just add a little bit more to the redness here on my cheeks. All right, so just wipe the rest of that off onto my cloth. And I think for concealer today, I'm gonna go in with the Sisley Phyto-Cernes Eclat. This is shade 1, and it is a little dark for me. So I'm going to mix this with the Chanel Rosy Light Drops. So these Rosy Light Drops I really, really like. So I just do a 50-50 mix and swirl it on my hand and kind of tap it under. So obviously this is thinning out the concealer. So, you know, you really aren't getting as much coverage per se. So I usually do 2 little layers. But I still think it's plenty of coverage in general. I know my circles are a little darker today. But I think that's good. All right, so I think for eyes today, I kind of actually want to play with something I haven't used in a while. This, I don't know why, but I always put this back in the box. This is the Surratt, the Halogram Shadows. I have made myself a little box. So this is one of the Surratt palettes, and you buy the palette, and then you can put, you know, 3 blush highlighter sizes or, you know, eyeshadows and so forth. So I have the dark matter base and I have 4 of the hologram colors. So I thought we would go ahead and play with this because I haven't used this in quite a while. All right, so I think I'm gonna go ahead, and this is a concealer brush actually from Kevyn Aucoin. I've never really used it because I don't usually use dual-ended brushes too much, but I think we'll just use this. I'm gonna use this flatter end for the dark matter, and this is the base. So you wanna put this down first, and then you put your hologram shadow on top, and the color is like transformed. So I know it looks really, really messy, really dark. I haven't played with these for quite a while, so I forget if you need to have precise application with a dark matter or not, but I feel like you really don't. It's probably not the best brush to have used with this. It's, you know, kind of made a little bit of a mess. This is just a reusable, you know, I think it's actually bamboo cloth. I use these to remove my eye makeup at night, but I'm just gonna, you know, get a little bit of this mess that I made here. All right, so I'm just gonna wipe anything off on that side of the brush just so I don't end up making a mess using the other side. But now I'm gonna use the other side of that brush, and the colors I have pink. I think this one's purple, green, and blue, or maybe it's pink, blue, green, and purple. It's really hard to tell between the purple and the blue in particular. I think maybe actually you might be able to tell a little bit in here. So yeah, I think in the in the camera I can see better. This one looks like the purple and this one's the blue. All right, so I think let's use all of them. So I'm gonna go ahead in with the pink, and I'm gonna put that right here. Let me actually just load up my brush here. So I just kind of swirl that in and put in a bunch. Just kind of tap that on. Let me actually use my finger on this and see how it does. Okay, so there's the pink. Let's go in next with the purple. I'm gonna start with the brush again, and I'm gonna load that up and tap that on next to it. Let me go in with my finger as well, add some more. Wow, that makes it much more vibrant. All right, and then I'm gonna go in with the blue. And then the green at the outer corner. And I'm gonna actually take that into the crease as well. All right, and then I think underneath, I wanna actually, I'm gonna go with the green. So I'm going back in with that flat one that I used. And I'm just gonna trace under the eyes with this. I think actually I'm gonna go in with the fluffy side. So I'm just trying to use one brush today. I want to clean everything. So, all right, I'm just gonna load some up on the brush and drag it underneath here. I'm going to try to flatten a little bit too and see if I can get a little bit more. All right, so overall, I just think these shadows are pretty cool. I like being able to layer them and mix them. I do want to have a little bit more of that purple here. So I'm just going to add a little bit more, actually of all of them. Okay, so that's it for that part. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so I think for right under the brow here, I'm going to go in with one of these hologram shadows, and I think I'm going to go in with the green since I kind of took that into the crease. And this is actually another dual-ended brush that I don't really use. This is from Carmody Beauty, and I'm just going to put just the plain shadow under the brow without any of the base. So there's a little bit of a green glisten there. And yeah, this is definitely not something I'd wear like a regular day or anything like that, but I think it's kind of fun to just kind of play around. So I'm going to play around with some, let's use the Surratt eyeliner. So I think this should be the black one. And I've used this eyeliner just a little bit since I've gotten it so far, and I really, really love this brush point. So it is very, very fine, and it just has a lot of control. So it's something a little different. One of the other things I like about these liquid eyeliners is the product is down. There's a well of product here, so it's actually coming through the brush tip instead of dipping it in and possibly getting things a little gloppy or gloopy. I'm really loving these colors. This blue next to the purple, I really love it. I don't know if it comes across as pretty on camera, but in person, it is very vibrant, and the blue is like a really beautiful, like cerulean blue. You know, when I was younger, I actually could do wing eyeliner fairly decently. But as I've gotten older and I get like the little creases and stuff there, it just doesn't go smoothly. So I have a much harder time. And I honestly haven't really played with it much until recently in many years. So, all right, I think actually, let me go back in with that. I'm just gonna make this line a little bit darker here. And my eyes are definitely too sensitive to do any like tight lining or anything. In general, they're usually too sensitive for that. The shadow really irritates. So yeah, I just don't really do the tight lining because it irritates my eyes, especially right now with everything still being sensitive. So that's it for that part. And then I think for cheeks, I'm gonna go in with the Viseart cheek palette. And this is the, was it Rose Coral? Yeah, Rose Coral. So this is the Esom G53, and I'm gonna go into the light pink. So super pigmented. I actually picked up too much, so I'm just gonna add a little bit here. I really love this blush. So I'm gonna make it just a touch darker and go into the medium pink right below that. Just gonna get a little bit and put it right here on the apples. Just kind of tapping that in. All right, so that's it for the blush, and I think for powder today, I'm going to use let's go ahead and use the Givenchy Poudre Premiere. Actually, no, I'm gonna go in and use the Chantecaille, the Perfect Blur today. So, see, I've used it quite a bit. I'm gonna go in with the Sonucci Face one, and I'm just gonna kind of pat it on first and then kind of buff it in. Eyelash. So this powder for me gives a little bit of brightening as well, because this peachy color is a little bit, you know, it just gives a little bit of a brightening effect because of the shade. So that's why I wanted to switch to that. And I think brows, I'm gonna take it easy and go ahead and use the Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel. Where is that? There it is. So this is the shade Taupe, and I'm just gonna run this through. And then I like to run it through with just a regular spoolie as well. So this is the back end of the Surratt Expressioniste brow pencil. I have very long eyebrow hair, so I know some people it looks really nice to have it kind of combed up, but for me, I would have to trim mine. So I just kind of get them to go in a particular direction. But all right, so that's it for the face. And I think for lips today, let's go ahead and do something a little bit nude-ish. I'm gonna take the Chanel, this is one of the new lip liners in shade 154, which is called Peachy Nude. And I'm gonna line my lips with this. All right, and excuse me for 1 second. Okay, so I have the Peachy Nude on now, and I think I changed my mind actually. I'm gonna go in with, this is one of the Givenchy Night and Noir. This is Night and Gray. Actually, let me switch. Yeah, no, we'll go with Night and Gray. So this is shade number 6 for their Night Noir lipstick collection. So it looks like this, and you can see there's some sparkles and so forth in here. And I love the case on these. I think it's really pretty. But this actually can turn into more of a, this one's like more of like a blackberry type stain. But yeah, I figure might as well just go dark. Now these, you can't like really build it up without getting it super splotchy. Like I wouldn't be able to make this like a really deep blackberry blackish color, but you can see that it does still, you know, look really kind of a little goth. So anyway, that's it for that. I actually think that's kind of fun, but you know what, let me take that off. I'm gonna switch lipsticks. All right, let's just go in with a new gloss actually. So this is the Tom Ford gloss in Ravish. And this is kind of like a light pinky nude shade. Yeah, that way the eyes stay the emphasis. So just think it's better for today. And then last thing, let's go ahead and do a highlighter. And I think for today, I actually want to play with a little gold. So I'm going with the Chantecaille Eclat Brillant. And I'm going to take let's let's see, this is the Sonia G Sculpt 4, which is kind of like an angled fan brush here. And I'm just gonna get a little bit here on that and just kind of sweep that on. So I'm using the fat end closer to my nose. Okay, and then I'm just gonna kind of turn it and blend it a little. Just kind of like the gold because I feel like these are all really cool toned up here. They have more of a silvery sparkle to them. So I like mixing the silver and the gold. All right, well, overall, I think this is a really fun eye look. I like it. I think it was fun playing around. So thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I hope you like this video. And I do have some things coming up. I will be recording again this week. So I hope to see you then. And if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I hope you have a great, happy, and healthy day. Thanks.